everybody. Hello, how are you doing? uh some of you might notice that the intro is actually part of the Streamlabs now, and I don't have to press play and such with like a regular media player. So progress on the technological part, yay. So I was supposed to record some videos today, but my neighbors are celebrating something, and their way to celebrate is spontaneous karaoke every once in a while, so I couldn't record anything. But there's this article that I wanted to talk to you about. It's very interesting. It's a take on pig intelligence from a farmer who raises them for food. Oh shit, I spoiled it for you. Well, never mind. Sorry. Hello, Trapped in the Matrix. Hello, Vainamoinen. Michael Askew, hello. Bianca, hello. Nerds Like Us. A friend, what's up? Militant Vegan, hello. If I've forgotten anybody, I apologize. Anyways, let's get started. The Intelligence of Swine. It's pretty long. I expect to go on rants every couple of minutes, but I also kinda not gonna go over like an hour and a half into this live, so I apologize. Hello, Jaden. Hello. So, small-scale pasture-based pig farming preserves a range of surprisingly intelligent hog behaviors that are widely suppressed in commercial facilities. So I'm already ready to go on the rant, and this is a preemptive rant because this sentence, we haven't even started, but this sentence annoyed the fuck out of me because, as we fully know, one of the first things that when you ask a meat eater, well, why are you eating meat? Why do you think animals don't deserve rights? They're gonna say intelligence, right? So they're gonna say intelligence, but the fact of the matter is the way we meet those animals, they usually have their intelligence stripped away from them through what I believe to be is isolation and just like stripping of their natural behaviors one after another. Anyways, let's continue. If you have something to say, I don't know, like tag me, because I'm not great at following both the chat and reading out just yet. I apologize. A friendo, is it an important message? I don't know. Oh, it's just a distraction. Damn it, I fell for it. Okay. I am stuffed into front of a pickup rumbling up a muddy incline. Thick woods flank the road on either side. They are flooded with hogs. At the wheel is Greg Gunthorpe, I think. A hard-working farmer who folds sharp opinions into an agreeable, down-to-earth Midwestern effect. The archetypical guy you'd want to have a beer with. I wouldn't. Again, spoiler alert, I wouldn't want to drink beer with this guy. If you only remember one thing about Greg, make it this. He is a 4th-generation pig farmer, and he'll be damned if he's the last. He must indoctrinate his kids into this as well, of course. He mentions this at least 3 times. In Greg's case, this giant international pride is hard-earned. Intergenerational pride, I'm sorry. He set off from his parents' farm and started his own venture in 1994, right at the mall of the industry-wide extinction event. Does anybody know what this extinction event in 1994 or 1995 was? It says, okay. In 1998, a due market optimism converged with creeping industrialization to spark a glut of overproduction and drove hog prices to the lowest levels since the Great Depression. And animals as food is always fun because they are only measured in money. Greg says that he and his wife were forced to sell pigs at a low of 5 cents a pound. And yeah, sorry, I forgot. Pigs are not only measured in money, they're also measured in weight. So, guys, shut up about all this sentience stuff. They're measured in money and weight. Across the industry, farmers collectively lost some 2.6 billion. The hog price collapse pushed the wave of independent farmers out of the business, accelerating a creep of corporate consolidation that saw the number of American hog farms drop by over 70% from 1992 to 2009. Today's holdouts increasingly live under a kind of corporate feudalism, with many on contract to maintain corporate-owned hogs according to the specification. Farmers assume debts and liabilities, while the likes of Tyson's Millfield and GBS reap the bulk of the profits. Now, putting animal rights aside for a second, this is like a modern tragedy, right? Because this plagues the plant farmers as well. So at some point, as vegans, we're going to have to address this situation that the large corporations are basically owning everything. They own sometimes the land, they own the crop, they own and they get most of the profit. So the farmers get screwed, and that's not just an American situation. It happens where I'm at as well. It happens everywhere. I don't want to rant about capitalism on this channel. There are other channels that do it better, but something to consider. Anyways, let's continue. Surviving vertical integration is one thing, but Greg is among a tiny handful of pig farmers to have done so without severely reforming the practices of earlier generations. So this is where pig welfare comes in, right? Faced with the stringent demands of a scaled up and heavily centralized market, bare-boned mixed species and rotational grazing techniques quickly went from tenuous to unviable. Modern farmers now largely keep hogs in cramped indoor facilities, suspended over vats of fermenting feces without access to sunlight, bedding, or dirt. I love these welfare pieces. I absolutely love them. And the reason is that, yes, they perpetuate the fantasy that most meat eaters live in, right? That their specific meat is coming from a happy farm or whatever. But they also largely tell on the 99% of the industry, right? They absolutely shit on them from the point of this welfare point, so I sometimes even learn something new from these welfare pieces that I didn't know before about the larger operations or whatever. Is something interesting going on in the chat? I can't follow, guys. I'm terrible at this. Well, if there's something I need to know, please, tag me, right? Okay, I'll continue until then. Okay. So, where did we stop? Modern farmers now largely, bedding or dirt. Factory farm confinement doesn't just serve as fertile ground for propagating diseases and infectious bacteria, it also pollutes the air, soil, and water in surrounding communities, since industrialization has geographically restructured hog farming around major processing arteries, most notably in Iowa, where pigs outnumber people 7-1 and produce a volume of waste equivalent of 84 million humans. That is fucked up. More than 25 times the state population. I wonder what the disparity is. If anybody has ideas, please tag me. The pigs outnumber people 7-1, but they produce 25 times more manure. Well, maybe by waste they don't only mean manure and piss. Maybe they mean like also blood and like the stuff that is left after slaughter. There's a word for it. The aftermath of slaughter, right? Maybe that is also included in waste here. I don't know. Yeah, fine, I'm on, and that's a lot of poop, but now I'm thinking, because there is a disparity, because pigs are not much larger than us, right? So if they outnumber people 7-1, but they produce 25 times more waste. If maybe I'm not understanding this more than 25 times the state population. So it produces, I understand it correctly. So it produces more waste than 25 times more waste, but it's only 7 times more pigs. And I think they do mean only shit here. I don't know. Something to dig in if somebody likes those kind of things. Research suggests that concentrated feeding operations heighten their neighbors' risk of certain respiratory and gastrointestinal problems. One Iowa State University study determined that their emissions may constitute a public health hazard. Again, absolutely love those little welfare situations, those little welfare articles, because they always tell on the industry at large. Right? Because what they're talking about here, as we'll soon find out, it's like one fucking farm that has, I don't remember how many, I just skimmed this, but like maybe a couple hundred animals, right? And the rest, the rest of the farms, like 99 whatever % in America, are the shit they're talking about, the hazardous emissions and the piles and piles of shit. Okay. Pigs are widely associated with the overpowering stench, and the characteristic smell has more to do with how we keep them and than the animals themselves. At Gunthorpe Farms, it is imperceptible beyond grappling range. I'm guessing the smell is imperceptible? I don't know. Greg has managed to stay afloat on roughly 3,000 hogs. So it's not a couple hundred, it's 3,000. So I guess he has like a vast land, right? Because usually those little operations like family farms or whatever, they're only a couple of hundred animals, right? Hello, Twisted, how are you? Okay, let's continue. So it's 3,000 hogs per year by reabsorbing once regional supply chain elements and now aggressively squeeze profits from farmers. Taking the unusual step of running a small on-site processing facility. So there is a slaughterhouses in the farm, so that he doesn't have to like pay the processing plant, processing in parentheses. This allows him to get hogs to market without relying on corporate middlemen, but it also brings plenty of logistical headaches. When he started building the plant over 20 years ago, neighboring hog farmers thought he was insane. At the time, it was a reasonable evaluation. Today, they're all out of business. Greg is taking me around the farrowing lots. So they're still farrowing facilities. Wonder what it looks like, right? Maybe there's a picture in the end somewhere, like the farrowing places, what they look like, and not just when the animals are running around all pretty. Look how cute they are, fuck. 40 acres of forest reserved for pregnant sows to nest. Well, okay. Give birth and stay with their piglets for their first 6 to 8 weeks of life. So he does separate them later, just not immediately, right? So he does separate them. I wonder why they do that, right? Even this like supposedly welfare heaven operation. It's not, it doesn't have farrowing crates, what it says, right? It has farrowing lots, whatever that means. It's 40 acres of forest for pregnant sows to nest, give birth and stay with their piglets. But then he takes away the animals. Why? Why does he do that? Anybody knows? Hello, 80 Slim Shadies. What's up? I don't know. I feel like I have like gaps of knowledge because I never, this is a spoiler because this might happen at some point. I never went through the animal's life from start to finish. I think it's something that is worth doing with somebody, and I think I found that somebody, so that's a future prediction if he ever answers my email. Because there are probably like a few things that we just don't know why they happen, and I think as a vegan, as vegans, we should know why even these like amazing welfareist farms take the piglets away after a while. I don't know. As we approach, we see that a litter of piglets has dug out from under the fencing around their enclosure and are now darting between the bushes up ahead. Oh, I wish we could see that. The little piglets running around. They freeze, staring, taunting us, then bolt for cover in unison. So they're scared. I wonder why. Most US farms keep sows in farrowing and gestation crates, coffinized enclosures, and are too small to physically turn around in. Piglets suckle through bars, and sows are often covered in sores and left to lie on broken legs. Jesus Christ. You see what I mean? Like these articles of welfare, they're like telling on the rest of the farmer population. Like if I was a farmer, I would like actually get upset. If I was like a factory farmer, you know, why are you telling them? Just let me make my whatever very little money in peace and kill as many pigs as I want. Blah blah blah. Greg, meanwhile, battles to restrain pigs to a property of some 270 acres. Holy shit. Let's see how much that is. Actually, hold on. Here's my trusted calculator. So 270 acres divided by 3,000 hogs a year. How much is that? That's very little. How much is an acre? Well, we have to find out. Acre to meters. I wonder. Acres to square meters. There you go. Oh, acres to feet. No, I want acres to square meters. So 1 acre is this much square meter. So I'm terrible at math, guys. As I said once, I had a good education, but it was very, very limited to very specific things. So I'm not great at like anything actually, except for maybe like video editing, which I'm not great at either. I'm just good at it. So it's 365 meters per pig. That's astonishing. That's how many times the size of my apartment? Holy shit, that's 5.5 times larger than my apartment. Yeah, it's totally, you know, it's doable. You can feed the world this way, absolutely. Oh, delusion. Holy shit. Okay. He isn't worried about the small ones. Their mothers ensure they don't go far, but long-term escapes are not unheard of. They've been smart enough to figure out that they can grab an electric fence post without getting shocked. So there is, he has electric fences. Pick it up, turn it sideways, and take down the fence, he says. Greg's pigs have burrowed under burrowed under or leaped over the walls of their enclosures. Once he found one lounging by a river, and an entire year after it had gone missing. So yeah, this is where we start the Pigs Are Smart arc. Greg pulls over his hog Daisy, explodes out the door. What? And his hog Daisy explodes out the door. The piglets lead her on a chase, leaping in tandem and flowing around the trees with incomprehensible coordination. They seem to enjoy it, I'm sure, but one of the sows builds a sequence of grunts from inside the enclosure. So they're still in an enclosure, right? The sows. They just don't have the farrowing crates, right? So what was this bullshit all about? I don't understand. Like, talking about forests and shit. But then he's talking about... It's probably me misunderstanding something, right? I don't know. What noise for... that noise is for their babies, Greg says. The piglets snap to attention and bolt back under the fence. Hogs produce a range of vocalizations, and Greg can tell some of them apart. Aside from the baby call, there is a whining holler that means I'm hungry and I want attention. An aggressive screech to issue a challenge, a mild persistent grunt that serves as a greeting, and a sharp squeal that signals pain, fear, or stress. I wonder if he hears all of these last ones in the in-farm slaughterhouse. As squeals echo through the forest, Greg notes a sharp one. They make that sound a lot after we take away their babies, he says. There we go. There we go. We were just moved to the finishing. They were just moved to the finishing pasture. Right? So they basically separate them to finish them off. To finish them, to feed them. Right? Amazing. Guys, I'm gonna silence my microphone for a second to blow my nose. 1 second, please. That's better. I'm glad I spared you that. I truly am. Okay, so let's continue. The piglets continue to play on their side of the enclosure, with rival litters squaring off and weaving around the trees. These woods are so full of joy that it is easy to forget every one of them is ultimately being raised for slaughter. The will reside in the finishing lots until reaching maturity at 7 or 8 months of age. So after 2 to 4 weeks, they are taken away from their mothers and they spend about 6 or 7 months separated in an enclosure, fattened up. Then every Thursday, a few dozen will be rounded up for the last move to the holding pens behind Greg's processing site. There, the harsh realities of livestock farming become unavoidable. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, it's the harsh realities of livestock farming that is unavoidable. Actually, that's a good point, right? That's actually, funnily enough, anti-welfarist point. Or welfarist, because welfarists do accept the fact that animals are going to be killed, and that's where they stop the reasoning, right? It's like, okay, well, let's raise them in the best possible way. Yeah, I don't like Greg either, Obainamoinen. It's definitely not a guy I want to drink a beer with. Also, I don't drink, but that's a different, separate issue. Okay. The pigs are fucking cute. Look at those pigs. Jesus Christ. The cutest fucking pigs. It probably was very difficult to take even those pictures. They probably like do zoomies like all the time. So capture them on film is probably very difficult. Viewed exclusively through the prism of inevitable slaughter, the value of ethical livestock, ethical in in parentheses, of ethical livestock treatment can feel murky. But if Greg's farm is a window into disappearing agricultural practices, it also preserves a range of hog behaviors that are widely suppressed in commercial facilities. Up close, the details of these lives illuminate the gaping chasm between a cage and a pasture. I just think that pigs, out of all the farmed animals, are intelligent enough that they shouldn't be kept in a cage or stuck in a barn for their whole lives, right? Greg says they're smart enough to know they shouldn't be there. Well, Greg, maybe they're smart enough to know that they should stay with their mothers after 4 weeks. I don't know, what do I know? Over the past few decades, research has demonstrated that pigs' capacity to comprehend symbolic language, plan for the future, and discern the intentions of others. Studies have found them to rival chimpanzees in their ability to learn and play joystick-operated video games, despite the fact that their feet and snouts are inevitably less adept to handling their mechanisms. The average intelligence of a pig on our farm is somewhere between a 4-year-old and a 4th grader. says Greg, who insists that humans have not grasped the depth of their internal lives. Measuring non-human intelligence is a sticky business. We tend to emphasize traits that resemble our own, but those who try typically categorize swine alongside dolphins, elephants, and higher primates in terms of memory, spatial reasoning, and capacity for abstract thoughts. Now, one thing I don't understand, what the fuck does intelligence has to do with the right to life? I just don't understand it. I'm not looking for a chess partner, right? In any of the animals, right? Like, it would be relevant if the question was who out of the animals would be a best chess partner, right? And then you can like kind of divide the higher IQ animals and say, okay, they might learn some basic situations and can play like basic chess, maybe not chess, but like checkers or something. And those can't, right? So the separation that lies there is great. There is something that can be reached and it would be like reasonable to do. But when it comes to the right to life, why do people even emphasize intelligence? It's one of those things that puzzles me and doesn't let me sleep. So if somebody has an answer, please, I beg you, give me the answer. Okay. Okay. Pigs bore easily and show a clear preference for novelty, and perhaps more impressive than their puzzle-solving skills are their capacities for social manipulation and Machiavellian intelligence, hypothesized as a prime evolutionary driver of advanced cognition. A 2000 study required pigs to forage for hidden food in pairs, with one informed of the food's location in advance and the other left in the dark. The unaware hogs first learned to follow their partners to the food and attempt to displace them. Then informed pigs learned to after their behavior, concealing their proximity and anticipation of the food. So I think I kind of fumbled. I hope you understood anything of that, because I'm not going to repeat it. I apologize. But I read it incredibly poorly. Both adaptations suggest a capacity to imagine outside perspective and a complex understanding of the self in relations to others. Right. Vainamono says intelligence can be valued for exploitative reasons. What does that mean? Please elaborate. Oh, sorry. Okay. Pigs process a level of cognition that humans easily identify with, but it would be difficult to glean in an industrial context. Sorry, I'm gonna miss you again, guys. I apologize. Okay. Also glad I spared you this. Trapped in a matrix, most people conflate intelligence with sentience, and it drives me nuts when Star Trek does it, and vegans use ST as an example, sentience as an example of what the future would be like. Oh, Star Trek as an example. Well, yeah, it's written by people. It's written, not only is it written by people, it's written by word geeks. Those people know nothing about life. I'm somewhat joking, but not really. Nerds like us. Does a higher IQ correlate with higher sentience? I don't know. It's a good question. Um, does a higher IQ correlate with higher sentience? It could be. Um, it could be perceived this way. Especially, like, maybe because sentience is considered to be like correlated with central nervous system, and part of the central nervous system is a brain. But that's where the cutoff is, I think, not at high IQ. Well, you can't measure IQ in animals anyways, right? IQ is like, you can barely measure it in humans. Those are like silly, it's a silly measurement that says nothing about somebody's intelligence, I think. For the most part, maybe. So, does intelligence correlate with sentience? Perhaps, but not at the levels of the farmed animals. Because we know for sure, right, that they're both sentient and intelligent. So, yeah, computers have the highest IQ because they can cheat. If they have access to the internet, they just can find out all the answers to the IQ. Can't they? Let's say you want us to find an AI and ask him. Let's get this guy. Let's see if this guy tells us something interesting. Let's see this guy. It's been a sophist about a chicken again, by the way. Can you pass an IQ test? Maybe it's not the best question, I don't know. I cannot say for sure whether or not I can pass an IQ test. IQ tests are designed to measure a variety of cognitive abilities, including reasoning, problem solving, and spatial awareness. I have been trained, blah blah blah. I will try my best to follow your instructions. However, reading, I don't like. What would be your IQ score? Like, if it takes the test. My meaning is, my IQ score is difficult to estimate, as it would depend on a specific IQ test that I was given. However, based on the results of studies I have tested large language models on IQ-like tasks, I would estimate that my IQ score is at the range of 110 to 125. That's bloody good. This would place me in the high average of 2 gifted range of intelligence. There you go. There you bloody go. So that's that. Okay. Pigs possess the level of cognition of humans easily identify with, but it would be difficult to glean in industrial context, where there they lack proper socialization, external stimuli, or much environment to engage with at all. Tighter space also means more competition, driving hogs toward violence, and even self-harming behaviors, like banging their heads, snowing at metal bars, and biting each other's tails. I feel pain now. Yeah, maybe 80 Slim Shadys. Get more mental health issues the smarter they are. That could be also environmental. It's like, I don't know, is there a correlation between like being smarter and being more depressed? Whatever. I don't know about that. I think it's also like environmental and not just like a matter of intelligence. Being more aware means you develop more psychological issues. But being more aware, does that correlate with intelligence? Because I know very smart people who live in a bubble. I also know a great amount of smart people, right? Conventionally smart people with doctorates and shit that believe in God and superstition. So, I don't know. Like half the people I work with believe in God and superstition. So I don't know. Maybe. Uh, maybe. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. Oh, they bang in their heads. I never heard that. That pigs bang their heads in factory farm settings. The industry tends to meet the ill effects of excessive restraint with even more restraint, ironically citing concern for hogs' safety. That is beautifully said. That is amazingly said. That's it. That's exactly it, right? The industry creates problems by putting a huge amount of pigs in a small space, and then it fixes those problems by tail docking, by putting them in gestation crates, right? By just simply locking them up, because I saw not just the gestation crates, but they lock them up like they lock cows up, they lock pigs up in a very similar way, right? And when asked, what the fuck are you doing, right? Why are you doing this to a sentient being? They say, well, it's for their own good. It's to protect them from their violent nature, or because this, without explanation, because this is what they do. Fucked up. So this, I should tattoo this on my lower back somewhere. Jesus Christ. Farrowing crates, for example, ostensibly protect piglets from their mothers, who, under confined conditions, frequently become disinterested in their children and crush them to death. Pigs' tails are clipped to protect them from getting beat, and their teeth are removed to protect them from biting others. I think also like the side effect of well, actually, I'm not sure about that. But I think there's, well, I'm not sure, but like if somebody knows something about this, so there might be some kind of correlation between not having all your teeth and thus not chewing food well enough with, I don't know, like getting larger, maybe, because you like swallowing food, you're not chewing it. Something to check out. I have to write it down somewhere, otherwise I forget, so forgive me for a second. Another tangent to go on. Yay! I love learning about this industry. Is there a correlation between lack of teeth and getting larger or fatter, right? Because there is something there. I just can't put my finger on it right now. I remember something like this, that you like use, it's one of those diet tropes, I think, that you're supposed to like chew your food really well in order, like it's one of the strategies to lose weight or something like that. Anyways, let's continue, I guess. Nose rings are designed to discourage natural rooting instincts by making them painful. God. Did anybody hear about this? Nose rings for pigs? Because I know there are like nose rings for calves. I don't know. If there was a super genius, from their perspective, they are surrounded by dumb people all the time. A lot that could get frustrating. Yeah, maybe. Have I ever been on an animal farm? Well, first of all, I was raised in. It's not a. It wasn't a farm, but it was like we had like backyard chickens, but in a factory farming situation, like a very very tiny coop with like a few chickens in it. Every chicken had maybe like uh, I don't know, maybe half a meter square for her. They used to fight a lot because it's like it was very little space. And we used to have other animals as well, which I remember only several of them. Like we used to have quails for egg production, no other reason. Um, and the chickens were for egg production, or and then later for food. And my parents would buy live fish and put them in a bathtub to swim until they're ready to kill them. So I remember being fascinated by the fish. Like I would sit next to the bathtub for hours. I could look at the fish. Oh my god, this was one of them. Maybe I was too tiny to remember, but I remember it being very, very big fish. So I also relatively recently, only like a few years ago, I was unwillingly, like nobody asked me, nobody asked for my permission to do this. We were driving, somebody was driving from a work thing from out of town, and I fell asleep on the back seat, and I woke up on a farm. And it's one of them boutique farms, goat milk farms, that also like create products there, so people come to get those products and like raw goat milk and shit. So I was on that farm, and it was funny. Well, it was tragic, but it was also funny because the doctor friend of mine who was driving, who brought me there, he just basically like told the wife of like the wife farmer to come out to me and show me around. I don't know if he told her that I'm vegan or not, but within like 3 or 4 questions, I got like all the information out of that woman because and then I relayed all that information on our way back to the city, because my doctor friend, he was talking to me about this farm, like it's his cousin's farm, and his cousin is like a true animal lover that used to have like a dairy farm, one of them CAFO dairy farms. So I'm sorry for the tangent, by the way. So one of them dairy farms, but he couldn't do it anymore because he's a true animal lover. So he opened a small situation goat farm, where there's a bit of a welfare going on there. Like the boys are separated from the girls, right? And they trade the boys with the farm near them, the CAFO farm, to like to not have like too much inbreeding, right? And they don't cut off the horns, but since they trade goats with the CAFO farm, they have goats with like disfigured horns that grow really weirdly after they've been dehorned. And the babies are like separated. They're still like kind of running around there, but they're running like outside the enclosure, right? And they all get to slaughter, which was shocking to my friend. He was like, no, they don't. I'm like, yeah, they do. She just told me. People live in a fucking fantasy, right? And then they like dare to talk to us like we are the fucking like we don't know what we're talking about. So fucked up. Jesus Christ. Anyways, sorry, rant over. Okay. Bianca says my parents had rabbits for slaughter. When I was a little girl, every rabbit was in a tiny cage of the size of maybe two A4 papers. Yeah. Holy shit. Oh, hey, hi, Catherine Smith. I haven't seen you before. Hello. How are you doing? Here in the USA, I have not seen any nose rings on any pigs. Yeah, this is about the US CAFOs, what they're saying. So, yeah, I've never heard of that before as well. Oh, another shit to write down, another tangent that I might do a video on. Sorry, guys. YouTuber life is fucking hard. Nose rings for pigs. Okay. Tangent written down. It is hard to have a detailed public conversation about these conditions, in part because the industry makes pains to shield them from public view. In January 2018, Smithfield, the largest US hog producer with a 15% market share, claimed to have phased out gestation crates in favor of group housing model with limited crating. Several months later, an animal welfare group, Direct Action, how fucking dare you? DXC are not welfare group? They're animal rights group? How the fuck dare you? Shit. Published findings from a lengthy investigation. Oh, I never pushed this. Let's try to push this. Yeah. Well, I don't want to be more sad than usual. Oh god. Fuck. Those fucking human eyes that pigs have. It's like, it makes it worse. It makes me feel like a speciesist because it makes it worse for me. Although, like, chicken eyes is the thing that I actually can't handle because I've seen chickens who know that they're going to be slaughtered tomorrow, and that's they look at you like, you fucking traitor. Even from the place of being locked up the entire time, right? They look at you, you fucking traitor, you're gonna kill me. And I'm not anthropomorphizing because you know, I remember that I had a favorite chicken coop, and when we moved countries, we started killing off the chickens and eating them because, I don't know, you know, not to leave them behind or not to give them away. I don't know, just did. And one of them, like, was my favorite because I basically raised her in my hands from when she was a baby. And everybody knew that she's my favorite. She's my favorite fucking chicken. So she was left for last to be slaughtered. And the way my father slaughtered them, it was like right in front of them, right? Of course. He didn't think, like, not doing that in front of the bloody chickens. So of course they fucking knew. Of course they knew. So I went the day before she was to be slaughtered, and she was all alone in the chicken coop. She looked so fucking sad. And sorry. I went to visit her, and she looked at me with those eyes like, you fucking traitor, don't even, like, look at me, go away. Fuck. Anyways, I'm crying now. My puppet can't cry, so you don't know that I'm crying. That's okay. Right. Alleged that Smithfield still used gestation crates for sows as well as farrowing crates, only slightly larger for recent mothers. In virtually every instance where we've exposed the factory farm, they claim there is a mythical humane barn where the animals were well treated, the XC co-founder Wayne Singh said in an interview with Vox. The reality is that they must do this because the public does not have a stomach for animal torture. That's a good sentence. Buy CDA, go do some stickering. That's much more important. You are right. What time is it? Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to muscle through this because this is a lengthy shit. I just didn't wanna skip this ode to CAFOs in an article about this absolutely best farm. Look at Greg. Isn't he an amazing guy? Look at him. Look. Well, the picture doesn't get bigger. Sorry. Anyways. Okay. Greg believes that traumas of industrial confinement are passed down through generations. He occasionally buys commercial breeding sows, but prefers not to, claiming that they socialize poorly and do not know how to make proper nests. If you go on an industrial farm, look into the pig's eyes, he tells me. Maybe I read too much into it, but they look clinically depressed. No, you're not reading too much into it. I just went on a rant and a small cry about it. Look at the little piggies. Fuck. I yield shotgun 2 days in, ride in the truck bed on the way to one of Greg's finishing lots. The trip is short. As we arrive, it strikes me that every once in a while, these hogs may actually hear their mothers howling with grief over their forced separation. Even under dark circumstances, the pasture seems to confer a relative measure of dignity. So it's all relative if you want the final product of bacon, right? So it's all a relative measure. Like, if you accept the fact that those sentient animals are gonna become fucking food, if you accept that fact, everything else becomes relative to that. So CAFOs are relative. This fucking amazing farm is relative. Because in the end, all that's gonna happen, they're gonna fucking be killed, right? For end product. Greg finished lots trade the forest for open hills ranging between 5 and 13 acres. The one we visit sports a striking centerpiece, an expansive mud bath crudely irrigated from natural puddles. The landscape is teeming with other evidence of pigs' exploits. Tree bark is worn down from rubbing. Rooting holes show the work of shovel-like snouts. Earlier, Greg pointed out that some of his sows decorate their arched metal housing structures with piles of sticks and logs. When we show up at the finishing lot, one of the hogs is frantically tearing down a pole-mounted tarp. Pastured hogs can cause significant environmental damage without proper management, which is why Greg rotates his plots, reseeds them after use, and allows them to lay fallow for half of the year. This gives the foliage time to regrow, ensuring a steady supply of clover, alfalfa, orchard grass, roots, and fungi for the hogs to forage as a supplement for their diet. So they're still fed what? What are they said? Is it soybeans? Are they fed soybeans? It also means that hogs play a long-term role in soil maintenance, turning it over, removing invasive species, and exhuming dead roots and stumps. They also fucking destroy everything, as you just fucking said. So this Greg person has to work really hard to make everything grow again. So what the fuck are we talking about? This regenerative farming seems more and more like a fantasy the more I hear about that shit. Oh, I might finish soon, just not finish the bloody article because it's pissing me off. Okay, the pigs stand alert when I climb out of the truck bed and enter the enclosure, clearly nervous about my presence. They'd be a lot more skittish if I wasn't here right now. Let's just, I don't know, let's skip. Okay. Because there's a lot of stuff that you can read on your own because the article is under the in the oh god, I start losing words, so we're definitely gonna come to a close really soon. Okay guys, small scale farmers. With climate change pushing agricultural reform to the fore, recent years have seen significant conversation about the feasibility of regenerative agriculture, the fantasy, a conversation approach to food systems that aims to offset the environmental impact by working really fucking hard, right? And replanting shit. Oh shit. Large-scale farming with targeted economical interventions. Greg is no crusading activist, but his business abides by many concepts that regenerative agriculture advocates advance to maintain biodiversity and topsoil health, like rotating pastured livestock. I mean, I don't understand it. How can he say that? How can he say that the pigs are like basically destroying the land, right? Leaving it almost barren, and then says that it's like some regenerative. He's the regenerative part. Greg is the regenerative part. He's like has to rebuild everything while the hogs are destroying the other part of the land. What is it? Is it poop? I'll poop for you. You can take my poop to put some on your bloody soil. It seems like it's only poop and the rest needs to be rebuilt every 6 months. Okay, these methods could theoretically be incorporated into a crop rotation, potentially creating an economic incentive for more sustainable practices. But while Greg's farm might be a model for pork production under a different economic regime, it is not that the average farmer could simply walk into today. Yeah, that's true, because probably Greg his meat probably costs at least twice as much, right? But I'm gonna skip around because I really want to finish. All right, guys. There we go. At 6:30 a.m. the next day, Greg is tossing hickory and applewood logs into the smokehouse stove. It's slaughter day, and 47 pigs are waiting in a holding area behind the processing facility, standing under the exact same style of arched metal shelter as they have known since birth. As with the hog from yesterday, they are timid at first, but soon yield to curiosity and accept some rubs. Greg does not enjoy the slaughter, as every farmer will tell us, right? Greg does not enjoy the slaughter. If I had to personally kill them every week, he tells me I'd quit raising them. But he accepts it. He has an almost spiritual relationship to pork, seeing the life behind it as a path to representing the finished product. That's what it is, right? Greg bifurcated his brain. On one side of his brain, those are beautiful, intelligent animals that he loves, and on the other side of the brain is the final product. So he lives like Jekyll and Hyde, basically, taking care of animals and thinking of their well-being, right? While holding this enormous farm for them. But on the other side of the brain, he has to hold the product as like the main reason for why he's doing this. In the slaughter room, Greg warns us where not to stand. This spot will get covered with hair, and this will get covered with blood. All hands are on deck, with workers grouped into a small assembly line. The process is clinical, hard to process in the moment except in literal terms. First, each pig is led into a small holding crate, subjected to a tight enclosure for the first time in his final moments of life. Then one worker delivers a 480-volt shock through the animal's brain, knocking them unconscious and roiling its body with muscle spasms. This is really hard to read. Once this abates, another worker steps in to cut the pig's neck at the midline. So there it is by now, I'm guessing, hung up on a winch to bleed out, tumbled over razors on a deherring machine, shaved, torched, sanitized, incised at various locations, and finally eviscerated. Along with the killing incision, evisceration is the most delicate stage of the process. Today, as usual, the station is manned by Evan, who is overseeing the entire operation. An optimized, scaled-up industrial processing plant goes through more than 1,000 swine an hour. At Gunthorpe Farms, that volume takes months today and plans to process 47 in 1,000 pigs an hour. The beginning of the assembly line is visible from the holding area with the live pigs. The killing incision, so the live pigs are seeing all this process. The killing incision is obstructed from view, but the blood is soon thick enough to cover the floor. It's not pretty, but at least the hogs are not subjected to the stressful transformation, non-familiar holding environments that centralized processing plants entail. Well, I don't know about that. I watch for signs of anxiety, shocked at how calm they seem. I don't know about that either. Yeah, I also hate Evan. I don't know sometimes what American names, what they're supposed to sound like. Okay, cattle. How did we get to cattle? I also stressed going to slaughter that beef plants need to carefully shield the sight and smell of what's coming, but some of Greg's hogs are actually lapping blood up off the ground. It would be easy to take this as proof that they don't understand what's coming, but Greg believes that they do. Of course they do. from animal welfare to socially distributed economic and environmental tolls, most ills of industrial livestock farming run downstream. Well, you know what, guys? I'm gonna link this. I'm losing my voice and I'm losing my mind. There is a bit more of telltelling on 99% of hog production, right? And at the end, this person is also going to a facility that tests on animals. So you can read about that as well. Guys, thank you very much for coming. I apologize that I'm closing this so fast and so sudden, but I'm tired and this was hard and I need to go and have a proper cry. So thank you for joining me. I hope to see you soon.